Okay, I have one more to show you. You guys can write this wherever you want. This is actually a special case, and we need to be comfortable with how to write it, okay? So for our augmented matrix, we've got 3, 2, and -3 in the first row. 13 is on the outside. The second row is 4, 0, 4, 12. And then -2, -1, 1, -8. Be really careful when you guys are writing from one augmented matrix to the next. Make sure that you carry the negatives, just like when we have a system with 3 unknowns written out as equations. Okay, negatives matter. They're super important. So please, please, please be careful. Okay, the first 2 matrices that we solved were consistent because a solution existed, and independent because there was one solution. But we know that they could be inconsistent with no solution, and we know that they could be consistent and dependent, which means there's infinitely many solutions. Okay, so let's go ahead and solve this, and we'll see which one it's going to be. And then I'll show you how we have to write it, or how we have to be able to write it. Let's see. Okay, I'm looking to get my zeros. So I'm going to take or create a brand new row 2. And I'm going to do that by taking 2 times row 3 and adding it to row 2. Okay. Similarly, let's create a brand new row 3 by doing the same thing. So 2 times row 3, but we'll add it to row 2. Yeah, that'd be perfect. Because if you guys look, it's 4 and -2. So the first row stays the same. Okay, middle row, row 2. So we're going to take 2 times -2, which is -4, plus 4, we get a 0. Okay, 2 times -1 plus 0 gives us -2. 2 times 1 plus 4 gives us 6. And 2 times -8 plus 12 is going to give us -4. Okay, row 3. Doing the same process, we actually end up getting the identical row. Interesting. Some of you see it already, but just stay with me here. Okay, so I am going to create, well, first I'm going to take row 1, and I'm just going to multiply everything by 1/3, so that that first element becomes a 1. And then I'm going to create a brand new row 3 by adding it to row 2, because I need to make sure we have the 2 zeros, but I need to make sure that this one becomes a 0 also. Remember, row echelon form. Okay, so in doing so, that first row stays the same. Oh, what? No, we're multiplying it by 1/3. So I get 1, 2/3, -1, and then our solution becomes 13/3. Okay, 0, -2, 6, -4 stays the same for now. And then if we add the 2 together, we get 0. Oh, yep. Hello. Notice they are all zeros. Normally, what that means to us is that it is all real numbers. And that's true. What that means is there is an infinite amount of solutions, but we need to be able to write it in a specific form. And what this says is that Z can be any real number. Okay, Z is any real number. So we have to be able to write X and Y in terms of Z, because we've just now stated Z is any number. So if we plug a random number in for Z, we have to be able then to solve for X and Y. We have to write it in terms of Z. Before we do that, let's finish our row echelon form. So I'm going to create a brand new row 2 by multiplying it by a -1/2. Why a negative this time? Because we need, where is my color? We need this guy to be a +1. Okay, here we go. So row 1 is 1, 2/3, -1, and then 13/3. That doesn't change. What we're manipulating is the second row. So we get 0, 1, -3, and 2. And then our last row is all zeros. Okay, so again, we know that z is any real number. We'll come back to that in a second. For the middle row, it says that x minus 3y, golly, sorry guys. It is literally 6 o'clock in the morning right now. Yeah, I know, my bad for doing it at 6 o'clock in the morning, but I'm making so many mistakes, so I apologize. Okay, so that second row is y minus 3z is equal to 2. We need to write it in terms of z. Okay, that means we need to get y equal to something with only z's in it. For this one, it's easy. We're just going to add 3z to the other side. So y is 3z plus 2. Why are we doing this? Again, z is any number on the number line. So if I need to find y, all I would have to do is plug whatever my z is in here, and boom, I know what y is. Okay, so we're writing each of these variables in terms of z only because we need to be able to solve for them with that any real number piece. Okay, that last row says x plus 2/3 y minus z is equal to 13/3. Okay, we need to write it in terms of z. I have x, y, and z. That's not helpful. But I do know that y is equal to 3z plus 2. So I'm going to use that to substitute in. So we have x plus 2/3 times 3z plus 2, and we can leave the minus z is equal to 13/3. Okay, so distribute the 2/3 inside the parentheses. We get x plus 2z plus 4/3 minus z is equal to 13/3. I'm going to subtract the 4/3 to the other side and combine like terms. So we get x plus z is equal to 9/3. Okay, that worked out nicely. So this becomes a 3. So x is equal to 3 minus z. Now x is in terms of z also. Again, if you get that z is any real number, you have to write it in terms, all of the variables in terms of z only, so that you can substitute it in to find what those variables actually are when z is given a value. Okay, so the cool part is now we get to write that x is 3 minus z, comma, y is 3z plus 2. And then z is z, where z can be any real number. And that's your final answer. Pretty rad, right? I know some of you are like, she's crazy. Yep, this is awesome stuff. Okay, another possible, and we're not going to solve this one, but just so you guys can see it. So another possible outcome might be this. If we had like 1, 7, 4, 2, and then 0, 1, negative 3, 5, 0, 0, 0, 7. Okay, right away red flag should be going off, because can 0 equal 7? Remember, this is your equal sign, because these are your solutions and these are your coefficients. So can 0 equal 7? No, never. So there's no solution. But you're not going to write no solution. You hopefully are going to write inconsistent, because it is an inconsistent system, which means there is no solution to the system. Okay? 2 special cases. When we have 0, 0, 0, 0, which means that z is any real number, or if it's inconsistent. Whew. All right, guys. So hopefully that was a little bit easier. Hopefully you're getting the gist. You have homework number 2. I know that Miss Amir stamped the homework problems from yesterday. You will get credit for that in your homework packet. I'm just not going to title it. Okay. So homework number 2 is a worksheet. Please, please, please work together if needed, but make sure you're doing your own work. You're giving yourself that chance to really try and see if you're understanding, or if not so much. So I will be back tomorrow, and I will make sure that we do more. We're going to do more, you guys. Don't worry. We're going to do like 3 more days of this. Be excited, I hope. And happy Halloween. Be safe tonight.